Okay, so good evening and welcome to class. Mr. Austin, hello, good evening, you're welcome. And I want to welcome everybody and wish us a happy Sunday. For those that are not, today's class is about data modeling. And in data model, we want to talk about the STAR model, and I'll use that to introduce us to fact tables and dimension tables. Now, it's one of the ways to optimize your data sets for efficiency and to increase speed when you click the update or the process button. Um, for those in Nigeria, you may likely be aware. I'm in Abuja as we speak. I left Port Harcourt, I think 2-3 days ago for a training here in Abuja. So we just finished the training. I'm coming directly from there. I said quickly, let me come up here and then let's have a good time together. So on behalf of my team and I want to say thank you very much. We're doing this recording from Abuja, from my hotel room, and I want to say it's nice being with you. So good evening, and once again, you're welcome. If you're in class, please just identify that you're in class, and if the volume is clear, I just need 1 or 2 persons to say if the volume is okay, then we'll proceed. While we're doing that, I also want to apologize for what happened last week. Last week we had network issues. We couldn't at the point the class was on, but my attention was drawn to the fact that some persons cannot, the screen was not clear. So we had to quickly stop the class for that day. But today I'll try to see how we can cover up for what we missed last week. Okay, so welcome to class. This is your data maestro, Mr. Nieti, and wishing you a very fine evening. Let's start with the class, what we have for today. So quickly, I'll go to my Excel and I'll switch to, somebody said, please confirm. Let's confirm that we're not having the same issue we had last week. Somebody said, I can't hear anything. I need 1 or 2 persons to please just say, can you hear me? If you're playing this on replay, please just bear with us. We use the first 2-3 minutes to get the class ready before we start. Okay. Tayo, Isaiah, you're welcome. Tayo said, no sound. I can't hear anything. Okay, Ibrahim Mohammed said, good evening, sir, and Mr. Austin said, volume is good. Adewale says, yes, I can hear you. So can I stand on that statement and then let's start. I want to assume that you can all hear me. Okay, so with that, we get to the business of today. Let me bring up the data we'll be working with. This is my, okay. So sorry for that. I hope you can see my screen and you can see the data set that we're working with. Okay. Now, let me start this way. Most times when a data set comes, for example, like this, okay, Victor said loud and clear. Izuchuku Frank says, yes, loud and clear. Okay, so let's continue. Now, most times, what some analysts do is when a data set comes like this one, you can see the number of columns. We have so many columns. They make the, it's not so much an error, but it's a sign of professionalism when getting a data like this, we don't analyze the entire. We have seen the number of rows. We have seen many rows, and we have numbers like these ones mixed with text, and we have a lot of them. And then we have some information. For example, if I go to cell number B, if I go to cell B, we have information about date. Then if we go to cell number C, it's talking about month, so date month. Then if we go to cell number D, we have information about the product, the category of the particular product. That's another information. Then the price of the product. So we have information about dates. We have information about the products, the product category, the price, and the quantity the person bought. Then we have information about the customer, the state where the customer is located, the geopolitical zone, the contact person, and the phone number of the contact person. If we still zoom again, we then see information about the staff that did the marketing, the department the staff belongs to, the commission given to the staff for making the sale, and the gender of the staff. You can see that we have more than 5 tables, 5 sub-tables in one table. What will really show your expertise is one of the ways you understand that analyzing this table as it is will be too much information in one area. What happens is it will slow down your data processing time. And one of the things in data analytics is how do you increase efficiency? How do you make your process, your updates faster? Analyzing this entire data, for example, if you want to analyze only information about date, that means instead of analyzing just these 2 rows, we'll be analyzing instead of analyzing just these 2 columns, which is date and month, we'll be analyzing all the columns. And you will agree with me that when we do that, it will slow down the system and it will be a waste of system resources. That brings us to what is called a star schema in data analytics, in modeling. Now, when we model data, the idea of the star schema is, can we increase the number of tables but reduce the number of columns? That's the idea of the star schema. While in this other schema that is here, you can see that we have few tables but more columns. But in the star schema, we're looking at, can we have more tables but few columns? Then we connect all the tables via relationship, and that way we can increase efficiency, we can reduce redundancy, and we can do other things. So that's what we want to work on today. How do we do that? How do we break this table into smaller tables? So we'll need a table for date, we'll need a table for products, we'll need a table for customer, then we'll need a table for staff details. And to create these tables, we have 2 basic types of tables. We have the fact table and the dimension table. Now, the fact table is where we have mostly the number related data that have to do with aggregation. Then in the dimension table, that's where we have the description of the items that are in the fact table. So for example, if I'm working on this table, even without starting the work yet, it's obvious that this item called price should go to the fact table. This item called product should go to the dimension table. Another thing again is, this is not in data analytics, but generally in IT, systems analyze numbers faster compared to text. So to be advisable, we move all the numbers to a table called the fact table, and we move all the text to another table called the dimension table. Now, we're not just moving them, there are some rules when we are moving them. This class, we're just making it practical, and I'll try to buy the time. Okay, please, if you cannot hear me or if there's any issue, quickly draw my attention to it. Let me take myself off the screen so that we have enough please, 1 minute. Let me quickly take myself off the screen so that we have enough space. Okay. Okay, so let's start. The first thing is we want to take this data to Power Query. We'll do all this in today's class. So let's take this data to Power Query. Let me bring up my Power Query. The data sets, I'll drop the data sets in the description section so you can download it and also work with it. So let's go on. Yes, somebody said for efficiency's sake, can we unpivot the table to reduce the number of columns? That's what we're working on. That's what we're doing. So let's start. So I click on the data. What you should do, click on the data, go to the data tab, and then click on from table range. And this will come up and we'll just click OK. This will automatically open the Power Query button for us. Okay. So we have the data. Good. The number of rows, we have 210 rows. So let's start. Now, the first thing is, let's rename this table. Let's call this, we can say this is the facts table. We rename it, and we'll start with the duplicates. So we'll right click on the table, and then we say duplicates. Just for naming, just for giving code names, we'll start the dimension table with DIM. So DIM date, we want to start with the date table. So click on DIM dates to rename that table. Then from this table, we only need information about the date, which is dates and months. So right click and then we say remove other columns. So this will take away all other columns. We have just these two. We change this to date. Okay, this is all the information we need in this column. We don't want to do anything again. If we want to bring out the weekday or any other item, fine, you can bring them out. And we, just to be sure, this will be our primary key. So we just click on this and say remove duplicates in case we have any duplicates. So we click remove duplicates. That means we have 60 rows in that particular column. So this is 9 and 10. So this is data for 2 months. That is 62 months, about 30. So September, October. That's correct. So you must remove duplicates so that this will automatically stand as our primary key. Okay, so we come back to this table. And firstly, we change this data type to match the data type in this dim table. So I click on this and I set it to the dates. So we replace current. Okay. Then we come to merge queries. So click on merge queries and click on merge queries. So this is our facts table. What we need here in our fact table is the date column. And we go to the dimension table. What we need in our dimension table is the date. 230 of 230 is correct, and we click OK. Good. Then we come to this expansion button. We click on the expansion. The only thing we need from here is the date. So remove this use original prefix. We just want the date to be here. So we uncheck everything and then check only date, and we say OK. So we have the dates. So this date is linked to the date in the other table. We can rename this as we call it date ID. Okay, so I was supposed to rename the date in this other table as date ID, but it skipped, no problem. Add this. So we come to this point. Now that we have added this, so we come to this point and we take off information about date. We remove this to hold down the control button, select the second one and delete remove columns. So we have removed the 2 information there that is about date. Then we go to the next one. So right click again and then we click on duplicates. This time we want to work on the products. So we'll call the table dimension products. Please, while the class is on, you can ask questions, or if the volume is not clear, if there's any challenge, just quickly draw my attention to it. Okay, so we have this table. The first thing we need to do is to remove the steps up to the point where the table was clean. So we started with this expanded. Let's see if I click this one and we'll say delete this step. Okay. So, and we delete this step, and we delete this step number 3, then, and we delete this step number 4. So every table will start from these two, which is source and change type. Good. So the table is back in the default state, source and change type. So in the product, what we need the product name and the product category, just that two. We don't need any other information concerning the product, just product name and product category. Right click on it, and then we say remove other columns. So we just these two, this will be our primary key. So just call this one product ID. So this will be our reference, product ID. So we click on this, and then we say remove duplicates. Remove duplicates. So it gives us 9 products, which is correct. So this is our dimension table. Now we connect the dimension table with the facts table. We'll go to the facts table, and then we click on merge queries, and we'll merge the product name. And in this other table, which is the product table, we'll merge that with product ID. There is 210 to 210, which means it is equal. Come to the expansion button. We remove the category. We just only keep the product ID. So we have the product ID. Good. We come to this table, come to this point, we remove the product and the category. You can see that we're reducing the number of columns in the table. So remove columns. Good. Now the next thing we want to take care of is the customer. So dimension, duplicate, and then we rename this table as dim customer. And we press enter. Please, if you can hear me, just say sound is clear so that I can proceed. If you can hear me, just say sound is clear. So the customer, remember, this is the point where we did, we said all tables should move up to this point. So from merge, right click on merge, and we say delete until end. So we just say delete. Good, we have the table. The only information we need, okay, sound is clear. Thank you for that feedback. For the customer, the information we need about the customer is 1, 2, 3, contact person and contact phone number. Yes, this is what we need from the customer. We right click and we say remove other columns. So this is the customer column. Which one is the primary key in the customer column? Okay, so there is a customer, and the customer is located in a state, and the state is located in a zone. Each customer, there's a staff that's that is more like the contact person, and there's a phone number. So the primary key in this case will be the customer company name. So this is what we'll use. But first, there's a step I need to retake. So we'll click on this one, on the customer, and then we'll right click on it and we remove duplicates. So remove duplicates, we have the number of customers as 26. Now we don't want this text to go with us to the main table. That's the point I said I'll take again. So we click on add column and go to index column and say from 1. So this will be our primary key. We just drag it to the beginning. So let's drag it to the beginning, and then we'll rename it as customer ID. Okay, so that's the customer ID. Then this will now be our primary key. We just change the ID here to text. Okay, so we come to our facts table, and then we go to home, and we click on merge queries. So customer here is customer name. Then we click on this and we go to dim customer, and we link it with this column called company customer name, and we say okay to this. Then when we come to this point, we will select everything. We only keep the customer ID. So we have the customer ID. We will work on this column again, this product ID column. We need to do that change also. So we come to this point in the customer table. We click on this 1, 2, 3, 4. Customer name, state, geopolitical zone, contact person, contact phone. We right click and then we say remove columns. Okay. So the next one we want to work on now is the staff name. So we right click on this one and we say duplicate. So this will be dimension staff. So in the dimension staff, this is the merge. So right click on merge and then we say delete until end. To ask us to confirm it, yes. So in the staff section, what we need is the staff name, the staff department, commission, staff gender. So right click on this one and we remove other columns. So we come to the staff name and we right click also and we say remove duplicates. It will give us 13 staff, which is correct. Then we need to create a primary key. So right click and then say add column from 1. So we shift this to the beginning and then we say staff ID. So this will be our primary key for this data. Then we come to the facts table and then go to home, add new, merge queries. So we take the staff name and then we come to this point, we pick dim staff and then we also take the staff name and then we OK it. Now we expand this and select all. We only need the staff ID. So this gives us the staff ID. Oh, we're supposed to change this to text, but I left it as number. So if we come to this point, at this point, we delete these ones that are all that have information about the staff. So we have 1, staff name, staff department, commission, gender. We right click and then we say remove columns. Now you can see that we have reduced these tables to just numbers, except for this one that we skipped. So let me handle this particular product. So I come to the product table. We're supposed to have a primary key. So let me add column and then say primary key from 1. And let's call this products. Okay, so let me call this products ID 2. Well, first, let me call this one products name. And then we come to this one and we call this one just products ID. ID 2. Let's leave it that way. So if we come to the facts table, yes, it's showing us that there's an error in that table. So we go to this step and we delete this step. Okay, so the dim products table expanded, dim products, remove it. So we have the products table. So what we need to do back at this point is to bring back the product table. One way I can quickly do this is to all the steps that we have listed, we can quickly delete the steps, or we can bring back that particular step. Let me see. I think I missed a step here very quickly. Okay, so I missed a step and I need to take this back very, very quickly. I need to run through this again. Please 1 minute, my apologies. I will edit this video. Let me cancel this because I've missed 2 steps. Discard. Okay. Very quickly, I convert to range. Do you want to convert? Yes. So I click on data and I say from table range. Now that we have the concept, I can quickly go through and then see where I missed that part. Okay, so this is my table and I say this is my facts table. And I simply duplicate it. It's like taking it again. So my apologies. And I call this one dim dates. And in my dim dates, I select these two and I right click and I say remove other columns. I click on this one and I say remove all duplicates. Then I want this one to be my dates ID. So I come to my facts table and I click on queries. So I pick on dates and I pick dim dates and I pick on, okay, so wait, in my dates, I change the data type to just date, replace current. And in dates here, I change the data type to date because we don't need information about time. So yes, and click here and I say merge queries, dates, and I click on this one, dates, and I merge queries. Okay, it's correct now. And I expand it. I don't need information here. I just need the date ID. And I say, okay. So I come to this part of the table and I delete these two. So I click and I say, remove columns. And I click and I duplicate this. This one, I want to call this one dim products. That's the place where we had the issues. So we delete from merge queries. So delete until end to say this, and we'll say okay. So we'll pick on the product name, just the product name and the company, and we remove other columns. Now we right click on the product and say remove duplicates. So this is the step we missed. We did not add the primary key. So add column, add index key. We want this to be our primary key. Take it to the beginning, and then we call it products ID. And we change the data type to text. Then we link this one with the facts table. Okay, so we have corrected that mistake now. So go to home and come to merge queries. And so in this, we pick the products here, and then we come to this one, dim products, and we also pick the product's name. The connection is correct and it's good. So we click here and we say we need only the product ID. Good. So that's correction. We've done it to product ID. And we click on these two and we say remove columns. We copy the facts table and we say duplicates. We want to call this one dim customers. So we click from this merge queries and we say delete until end. We delete it. So what we want to keep here is information about the customer. So customers, we have customer, state, geopolitical zone, contact person, and contact person phone number. We right click and we say remove other columns. We right click on this one and we say remove all the duplicates. Good. Number of customers 26. Then we add the primary key, the index key. So from 1, we switch it to the beginning. So we call this one our customer ID. And we change the data type to text. And okay, so we come to the facts table and we merge queries. This time we're working with customers. So we click on the dim customer table and we bring up the customer 220 of 220, 210 of 210. We have the connection and then we expand it, take off everything. We only need the customer ID. We're doing this because we need only numbers, quantifiable data in this table. So we click on customer from here up to contact phone number. We say remove columns. Good. Then we go to the last one, which is the staff we duplicate. We call this dim dimension staff and we press enter. We delete from here down. So delete until end. It will ask us to say yes, we want it that way. So information about the staff, we have staff name, staff department. Okay, the commission goes, we will not take off the commission because it's number data. Staff name, department, and staff gender. We right click, we say remove other columns. Okay, from these three, we right click the staff and say remove duplicates. We have this, and then we create a primary key for this index, and we say primary key. We bring it here, and we call this staff ID, enter. We change the data type to text. Okay, then we match it with this table. So go to home, go to merge queries, and we pick on staff name, come to staff, and then we pick on staff name 2 to 10 of 210. It's okay, then we expand this particular one and we take only the staff ID. Okay, so we come to the staff table and we take staff, staff name, and staff departments. We remove the columns. So this is what we have. You can see that our table now has only numbers. We'll just quickly work on this. We change this data type for the order ID, which is our primary key, to text. Then which splits this particular column. So just I click on it and then say split column, split by delimiter. Space is selected, very good. Then we delete this particular column, remove. We can rename this to quantity in bags. Enter. So this is what we mean by facts and dimension table. So this is the fact table and these are the dimension tables. Order ID, price, commission, dates, date ID, product ID, customer, staff ID. You can see that we don't have any information that is text-based. Information, they are all numerical. So this is our date table. These are our product dimension table. These are customer dimension table. These are staff dimension table. So this is what we mean when we talk about having facts and dimension. Now, if we, oh, sorry, not Power Query, we're supposed to go to Power Pivot. If we go to Power Pivot, we say add data to data model. We've added that one. Let's go to dim product. We click on it and say add to data model. We've added the third one, the fourth one, dim date. Click on it and say add to data model. That's the fourth one, and then the last one. In one of the classes, I taught us how to add data to how to activate your Power Pivot. So check my previous videos. Now, if you come to diagram view, you'll see all the tables here. So I'll place all the tables up. Let me place all of them up. Then we'll bring the dimension table down here. So if we bring the dimension table, so this is what we mean by this. So staff ID, we connect staff ID to staff ID. Good. We connect product ID to product ID. You drag it and drop exactly on top of that one. Bring this one here, bring this one here. Then we connect customer ID to customer ID. And we can bring this one here. We connect date ID to date ID. So this is what we mean by the star model in data analytics. So now the tables are all connected and each one is standing on its own table. So we can save this, and then if we want to model the data, we can from here and then create pivot tables. We say okay, and then from here you can begin to model your data. So thank you very much. That was a quick one. Sorry for the mistake. It happens. My apologies. It was not intentional, but that's what we mean by data modeling using the star schema. In this case, now you're modeling this data and managing this data. There's efficiency, there's speed when you're working, and then you can have the data sets in their different tables. Okay, so let me take questions. Let me take questions. Okay, somebody said, why don't you... Okay, let me bring up the discussion. Okay, there's a question here. So why don't you create the other tables first before merging? That will save time. Okay, when we say okay to create the other tables before merging, okay, um, when you create the other tables before merging, okay, yeah, that's another option. I don't see anything wrong with that. You're correct. You can also use that method, Mr. Andy Can Udo. Yes, you can do that. I agree with you. Yes, you can create the tables before merging. That's okay. Okay, another question. Interestingly, the method I use is as the same thing like creating the table before merging, because we pulled out all the steps up to where we had a clean table before we started. Okay, Victor Prefer said, great technique and very clear, Mr. Victor Prefer. Thank you very much. Okay, any other question? Today's class, I'm supposed to use 30 minutes, this 38 minutes because I had to take that topic back. Okay. Okay, so while questions are coming on, if you're in Abuja, the weekend class started on Saturday, today Sunday. So we did 2 days, and in the 2 days, it will interest you what we covered in 2 days. We started a data for an agro business. This particular data we're working with, we picked up the full data, which is about 530 rows, and for a period of 4 months, that's September, October, November, December, and we analyzed them, and we built a dashboard using Power BI, and it was really mind-blowing what we covered within the period of the class. I'm trying to bring up my screen so that I'll show us what we did today in class. It's just a way of sharing that there's a lot that is possible. I'm showing us. So let me bring up my screen. So if you're in Abuja and you want to join us tomorrow, the weekday class starts tomorrow. So if you're in Abuja, I'm inviting you to join us. So this is what we built for the business. We built this particular data we're looking at. So one quick thing we saw, which I want to discuss with us in case you're joining us tomorrow. The weekday class starts tomorrow, and it's for 5 days. For 5 days, we'll do a complete analysis of 2 businesses. So for the weekend, like I said, Saturday, Sunday, we did this in 2 days. They are all beginners. It will interest you to know that they are all beginners, and we covered this in just 2 days. Now, this is what we discovered. Now, yes, the company is making profit. If you check the growth rate here, the company is actually making profit. Interesting profits. Like in September, profit was 13 million. October, profit was 18 million. November, profit was 22 million. And December, profit was 29 million. They're actually making profit. But this is the part they did not get that through our analysis we were able to make them understand. Now, check the total number of customers, 26. In September, the total number of customers, 26. They made a total of 60. They sold 69 million and profit of 55. Sorry, they sold 69 and they made profit of 30 million. Now, when we check October, look at October, what happened? The number of customers reduced to 18. They're still making profit. Sales increased to 93 million. Profit is 18 million. But see what happened? Number of customers reduced to 18. Then when we check in November, now total number of customers is 9, and then total sales 112 and profit is 22. When we check in December, customers still 9 and profits. Now, in working with this data, so what we did after deriving this, we now did the discussion, we did the reporting. So this is a summary of what the reporting we give to the business owner. That yes, the business is making profits, but the number of customers is reducing. This may likely happen where the few customers that are remaining, like in December, we had 9, their capacity to buy now increase. So instead of buying 10, they're now buying 50 or 30. That means one is an indicator there's an increasing demand for the product. So that's number one. So that's why even when the number of customers is reducing, the profits and the sales is increasing because there's an increasing demand. But the company, when we now do the second chart, which is what we'll do next week, and which is part of the class we'll start tomorrow, when we now do the second chart, which is the sales analysis, we'll then check the sales growth, the growth rate of the business, and then we'll check the profit margin. You discover that's where you identify the drop. With just this, this is a financial analysis. With just this, you will not identify that drop in performance. But when you check the sales growth, we discover that the sales growth is actually dropping. Meaning, maybe in month 1 they made 50,000. In month 2 they made 100,000. By month 3, we'll expect they'll make either 150 or 200. But in month 3 they'll make 110. You see what happened? So month 1, 50, month 2, 100, month 3, 110. The average person will say, oh, we're making profit. Month 3, 110. Month 4, 120. We're making profit. But now at that point, the sales growth would, when you plot the sales growth, it will go down because it's supposed to be 50, 100, maybe 150 and 200 and going upwards that way. So that's one of the benefits in this. So I'm inviting you, if you're in Abuja, I'm starting a class with the persons in Abuja. It's starting tomorrow, and it's for the weekday one. It's for 5 days. It's a Power BI class, and if you're interested, this is the phone number. You can call this particular phone number, even if you're not in Abuja, but you're interested in the class. I would really invite you to join the class. So that being said, let me quickly take the questions. Somebody said, why did you change the ID to text? Normally I advise, it's not a yes or no stuff. I advise when working with data, the primary key should be text so that the system will not automatically change it to start doing summation or aggregation on it. So primary key is advisable text. Some level of companies, okay. Some level of complex processes here. Can we have, okay, I did not really get the question, Mr. Dewole. Chairman said, please, can I have the date again? Okay, the video is there on YouTube. You can always replay it to check those steps. Okay, this one said, is the same process applicable on Power BI using Power Query? Yes, like today in class, we use Power BI to do this. So yes, it's applicable in Power BI. Okay, Victor said IDs are changed to text so that Excel can recognize them. Yes, as text, not as numbers, is advisable. Mr. Victor, thank you for answering that. Otherwise, Excel will treat them as 1, 2, and they will give errors. Yes, Mr. Victor, thanks for that answer. Then Mr. Ndikan said, Mr. Victor is not clear. It's advisable when working with data. The primary key is advisable. Keep your primary key as text. For example, if the data is talking about people and the account number or the ID, let's say the NIN number is the primary key. There's no mathematics that will tell us do Mr. A's NIN number and my NIN number. So it's advisable any data that is a primary key that you not do aggregation on. Keep it as text, especially when we're not talking about counts or distinct counts. Okay, this person said, kindly drop recording and the data sets here. Okay, the data set is always there for you to look at it. And this is the phone number. Kindly call this phone number and you get a link to the class. This class is starting tomorrow, and I'll see you. For those in Port Harcourt, I'll be in Port Harcourt by next week. I now have a class 13th, 14th, 15th of March in Port Harcourt. I'll see you guys in Port Harcourt for a physical class again. So on this note, I'm signing out. Thank you very much for joining me this evening. Have a very wonderful evening. Thank you.